This is a demonstration from my Bottomless chest inventory management software. First, my Bottomless chest down there, as you can see, has loaded up. The base commands are /chest and /bchest. This is how it works. On each side, I've got scroll bars and then a trash bin. This plugin creates a lot of extra space for you to store your items. So instead of a single chest which can hold up to 27 items, or a double chest which can hold up to 54 stacks of items, as you can see here on my screen, I can scroll the bar and make the inventory scroll up and down, and therefore I have a lot more space to work with. Now, as you can see on this menu that I have floating around right here, it says showing rows 1 through 6 of 1000. Now, for the sake of hard drive space, because, I'm keeping this in mind, this plugin could be used by servers that have hundreds of players or thousands of players, many of which aren't online a majority of the time. If everybody had access to more than 1,000 rows, the files would start getting very, very large that represent your bottomless chest. They'd get very large very quickly. So 1,000 is the hard limit for the size of a chest. It could technically be larger, but that's the limit assigned in the software. There are several interfaces. There's the main interface that holds all your items that you can interact with the scroll bars. There's the trash bin. So if I want to put this in my chest and then throw that out, there it is. In order to get it back out of the trash bin, all you got to do is click on it, so that, if you threw it in the trash bin by accident, or like 64 diamond blocks, which is valuable, all you got to do is click on the item to send them back to your chest. If you have a bunch of items, a bunch of items that's cluttering up your chest, and you want to free up some space, just do Shift. All you got to do is do Shift, right click. And I'll get to that one later. So as you can see, those are in the trash bin, and you have a maximum of 36 slots before it yells at you and says that your trash is full. To solve that, go to empty trash. It gives you a confirmation. You can cancel to back out of that inventory, or you can press confirm. Those items are now permanently lost, as you can see by the warning. Important: if you discarded an item into this trash bin, simply click on the item to send it back to your chest. But however, please note, if you leave the server, all items in the trash bin will be permanently lost, so be careful. You cannot recover deleted items. They are gone from the configuration file in the back end, so make sure that your players are careful with that. This item, or this menu, I actually went on to earlier accidentally. This is the admin menu. The configuration file for this plugin is a serializable file. It's a binary file. It's not something that you can edit by hand. This section of the inventory shows you information about the software, including the name of the software, who it was written by, yours truly, Virus Brandon, and the software current version. Your regular players that do not have sufficient permissions, such as bchest.admin, will not be able to access this menu. This section here in the center, these two sections here, are responsible for changing the icon for various sections of the inventory. So as you can see, I changed the accept button to clay, and then I changed it back. The no button, which represents the fact that you can't do something like scroll up, you can change that. Click on that, and the no button all of a sudden is now red clay. The trash button can now be a trapdoor. So I can change that back as well. 1 second. Barrier, there we go. And you can also change the sounds. You get the idea so far. You can change the sounds, so when the chest opens up, you can change the sounds. Let's see. So you can change the sounds from whatever you want to whatever you want. These areas right here these two options, toggle file read method and your toggle file write method. These two options are linked together. You can either do by player name or by unique ID. So if you just have a single server and you're not going to bungee cord servers together, or whatever, I mean, if you want to use UUID or by name, I guess bungee cord has nothing to do with it. Since players can change their name now, you can do by name or you can do by unique ID. If you do by name and someone changes their name, they're not going to be able to access their chest. So even though the setting is available, both settings change at the same time, because if they're not congruent, you're going to have files reading in one way and writing out a different way, which will mess things up. So these files change to be the same. Unique ID is preferable. The action bar down here, you might end up having a plugin that uses the action bar, so maybe it makes more sense just to disable this altogether so that it's not competing for display time with another plugin. Auto item pickup basically means that when you are mining, mined items will automatically go into your chest. So, if you're running a prison server, for example, and you give somebody a highly enchanted item, they're going to be dropping items all over the place and having to pick those items up manually. With this setting enabled, those items will immediately go into the bottomless chest. So really, unless you have like enchantment level 1000, it'll take a very, very long time to fill up a fully unlocked permission granted chest. Another option is per world items, and I'll demonstrate that with you. The per world items allows you, let me show you here. As you can see, the items that are showing up right here belong to the default world, so they cannot be accessed in the Nether or in the End or any other world for that matter. So if I do multiverse TP right back to the world, those items are now unlocked. So I'm going to turn that off, and we're all set. The next thing you can do is you can customize. So I'm going to go back really quick. You can customize. As you can see, left-click scrolls the rows by 1, right-click scrolls 6 rows, and shift-click scrolls by 100 rows. Right-click, shift-click, left-click. We're going to go back to the top. You can change this. So, for example, if you want left-click to scroll by 5 rows, now it does that. If you want shift-click to scroll by, 95 rows, you can now do that, as you can see. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to change that back to its default. Now you have a sort option. So if I turn that on by item ID and then close the inventory, it is now sorted by item ID from least to greatest, and that's the only way it does it, or by material name, which has a slightly different sorting because it goes by alphabetical order then, or no sorting. And then you can do maintenance mode, and then you can view the different chests that have been on your server. That way you can go through and pull those chests online even when the player is not online. The next thing you can do is you can toggle the trash bin. Items that are thrown into the trash bin are not preserved in the trash bin. So if a player accidentally throws something in the trash bin, it's gone, period. So it's not really a preferable feature for most servers, but it's totally up to you. The option's available if you want to activate it. But if I turn the trash bin back on, those diamond blocks are gone. The next option is the language translation. The default download comes with a couple of language files, English and French. In order for the software to start, you need the language files. That's a very common error that I see on Spigot. You can translate it in real time to a different language. assuming that you can supply the language file. Another option that you have is you can make it so that when people die in game, they lose their items, and either when they die, the items either disappear or they just drop on the ground. And you can even set the percentage of items in their chest that die or that disappear. As far as I know, I think that's all of the information that I have to show you about this plugin. This plugin is available on Spigot. I think it's for $6.99, and to my knowledge, there are no bugs in this software because it's been a project that has existed since, 2015, I think. So this has been a new and kind of extended demonstration of my bottomless chest inventory management software. You guys have a good day.